up, T7G? How you doing? Welcome to the stream. A little bit of testing here. I think I can just hop right into it, but I want to make sure. Testing. Hope you can hear me loud and clear. I think that's good. If I do say so myself, and I do. Oops. What am I about to do? Well, since I got it pressed, I'll grab this thing over here. It was second. Alright. That should work. Updates to the screen and stuff. Not too bad. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Alright. I'll stream on. Now, big ass head covered up half the screen. Alright, we'll just keep going for now until I do something with that. Hello everyone and welcome. I am your Immortal Afro Joshua, watching Immortal Afro Gaming, where we will make gaming niche again. I'm told that's the proper way to say that word, so we're gonna do that for a while. I said it for a bit, but forgot. Let's get back into the game right now. A friend of mine highly recommended this to me, so we're gonna see what it's all about. I think I should be good. I forgot. Someone, either he told me, but it mentioned something about streamer mode. I guess it's on, so I guess we're good. We don't have to worry about any issues. Starting the game. I didn't really get that far. Didn't even get out of the first 7 minutes. So hard because I'm gonna try hard. Filthy try hard. as I play Hi-Fi Rush. I'm gonna be talking about some interesting details as it opposes, as it relates to galvanizing.
Next.
The gaming G.O.A.T.S.
I said next.
Huh?
One second. Turn this down just a little bit.
Chai, is it?
Yep.
Profession, rock star?
Future rock star.
Are you done?
Yes.
Whatever. Here's your Project Armstrong pass. And welcome to Vandalay campus.
Yes.
Vandalay. This game is very beautifully animated, I'll give it that much. I really dig the look and feel. It's like a nice high budget cartoon or anime or whatever. Very simple, but not too overly complicated.
Welcome, applicant, to Project Armstrong. Technology perfectly fused with the human body. Together, we create better lives.
And now, the CEO of Vandalay Technology, Kale Vandalay!
What a historic day. You're the best of the best, and about to be even better. Thanks to our robot enhancements, Vandalay has always been about helping those in need. And you all in Project Armstrong are about to show the world just how special you can become.
Yeah, we're special.
Now go. Get ready for a better life.
I'm with him. Special pass here. I think they just called my name.
Very animated looking game. I think I saw Shinji Mikami's name attached to this
Promise
as well.
me the best of the best, Mimosa.
Production asked for test subjects, Kale. Marketing delivered.
Don't pin it on Rekka! Tell that grandstander Zanzo in R&D.
We need people with influence, and you're giving me losers.
It'll work.
It better. No slip-ups. And no defects. What a piece of junk.
Oh, I thought he was a nice guy. Oh, we'll see if that's a good or bad thing.
An error has occurred. Please proceed to the checkpoint.
Okay, checkpoint. Where's that? Don't worry. Probably no big deal.
Did you come to check out what a great job I did stacking these boxes? Or were you looking for the exit? If so, 180 degrees behind you, lad.
Behind you, lad. Nice double jump action.
Oh dear, my cleaning has caused an even greater mess. Your jumping, however, was impressive.
Whew, man, that surgery drained me out. Ah, that hit the spot.
We told you no more than 10 boxes at once. Look at what you have done. Surely we will face consequences. It has been a privilege working with all of you.
Young Sykes, what's going on, man? Hopefully I like it. I hate it so far. This game looks stupid, and I hate you for recommending it.
Please collect your belongings.
But
Yeah, time to get out of these clothes.
it does look good so far. It's very colorful and well animated. Willie.
Oh, jeez.
Let's see what all this hype is about. The Hi-Fi Rush.
Ooh. Hey!
Alright, kid. Robotic arm, LX to 75, magnetic waste management fixture.
Wait, magnetic waste management?
Foreign object warning. Looks like a defect. Take him in. Is that a leopard?
I don't think so.
I think he's resisting.
Wait, what?
Man, that took literally no time.
Got him!
That's pretty cool. That attack amazing. That's pretty cool.
Okay, what is going on? Huh? If I'm getting this right... First, music player in my chest. Pretty sure that's not supposed to be there. Second, it's powering up my new robot arm. Third, it's making everything sync up with the beat. And... this sounds ridiculous, but when the music kicks in, it feels like I'm on a stage. Whoa.
All right, everyone. Ready for something wild?
Whoa.
Chai's here, and his attacks sync up with the music. You all want to see it in action? Let's start with a light attack. A one-beat attack that quickly connects combos. Go ahead, try it out. Now try a combo and beat to the music. This will be what perfect timing feels like. at you. Perfect timing on that one.
Oh, yeah!
Your attacks always land on the beat, but press the attack button exactly on the beat to give bonuses in battle. Looks like you're ready for more. Head on over. How about delivering some real damage? The heavy attack. This one takes 2 beats to land, so listen carefully for the beat in the middle.
I got this.
All right. Now try out a heavy combo in rhythm. This is the kind of timing to aim for. Sure,
That's pretty
sure.
cool.
Not bad for a rookie.
Put it on streaming mode so you don't get copyrighted. Yeah, I did.
And the crowd goes wild.
I'm hoping it did it. I checked it before I started streaming. Because I remember, I think you and Chris were talking about it. Dude about to beat my ass.
Is this the guy?
You want an autograph?
No.
I'll get you an autograph. Thank you. Thank you. Anyone see the guy that did this?
That's the defect!
What? No. I was just... Well, here we go.
Pick them out!
That's pretty cool. I like that. Makes me smile. The world engages move to the beat. Use it for reference. Timing is key, so relax and feel the beat when playing. Look for this icon and hear the audience cheer to know when your attack's right on beat. If you need some help identifying the beat, press tab for a constant image of where the beat is. Okay.
Well, that was awesome. But I should probably get out of here.
Hello! Big Monster Production Ricky here. And what's this I hear about a defect running wild in Recca Zone? Anyone sees this kid running around? Recca wants you to smash him. No defect gets out of production. Not on Recca's watch.
Okay,
try
clearly
to
not
kill
someone I want to run into.
Hello there. Can I be of assistance?
What are you?
Vandalay Smartbridge VASF07, but commonly known as Smidge.
Not very catchy, but...
I can analyze your well-being and guide you to satisfaction. Let me indulge.
Hey, no indulging.
You seem to have musical robot powers. Would you like me to explain your malfunctioning abilities? So it seems your problem may be attacking enemies to the beat.
I wouldn't say it's a problem.
Attacking enemies on the beat does more damage, so I sense it is beneficial for you to do so. For some people, the beat is hard to find, like inner peace. But here are some tips. Your attacks always land on the beat. And since it's beneficial to attack on the beat, pressing the attack button again when your hit strikes is the perfect time.
That makes sense.
And if you need even more help, it seems you have a rhythm assist. But rather than explaining it, why don't you try it out on me?
You want me to hit you?
I can see it excites you. So please, practice your light and heavy attacks on me. Now let's try a heavy attack. Just like I thought. You can do it.
Wow, these fridges are great. You really do know me.
I know everything about you. I look forward to our next chat.
How do you know everything about me?
That was just creepy.
Let me know if you'd like to try again. Vandelay's not.
Hey.
You see, when you, so it seems I wouldn't attack you for your attacks always, and since it's beneficial, pressing the attack button again.
That makes sense.
And if you need even more help, but rather than
You want
I can see it.
Okay.
Not quite perfect, but I can tell you'd like to try again. Now let's try a heavy attack. Just like I thought. You can do it.
Wow, these fridges are...
I can...
Hey, no indulging.
Okay.
You see, if you need help, don't hesitate to chat.
Do not enter. Must mean I must enter. Collect gears to upgrade abilities and purchase items. Find gears by searching the environment, destroying enemies.
That's the defect? Looks suspicious.
Could be.
Hey! You looking for me?
Get him!
Let's try and catch this.
Well.
And now, what am I supposed to do?
Hey! You alright? Thanks for helping my cat. Need a hand?
Oh, that's convenient. Looking to get out of here!
Well, that might be something I can handle if you...
Hey! Yelling like this is awkward! Can you speed this up?
Fine then. Look, I hacked the access panel. Smack the switch and come up.
Man, Project Armstrong's turned out to be a real bummer. I wanted a cool robot arm, not a target on my head.
I was watching you down there. You seem very good at dodging.
Oh, yeah, I think I can do that.
Dodge.
Analyzing your personal data, and I can see that your dodge is very versatile. Apparently, dodging with the beat enables up to a triple dodge, and even pulling items from far away. Dodging in the air is not only useful in fights, but also for getting to hard-to-reach places. But I know what you're thinking. Light and heavy attacks can be chained right after a dodge.
I actually wasn't thinking about that.
Of course you were, but make sure to press the attack button right after a dodge. So how about it? Try it out on me.
Okay, well, sorry in advance.
Your hits only fill me with joy. Hooray! But there's still one more move up your sleeve. Fantastic. Now here is a refreshing beverage. I hope I was useful.
Thanks, talking refrigerator.
Anyone who thinks of taking a break today is getting crushed. My eyes are everywhere, looking out for slackers.
Salaka.
Hello? I'm here. Cat rescuer? You said you'd help out? Maybe this wasn't such a good idea.
Good, you made it. Down here. All right, so I'll keep this in mind. I saw you fight back there. I think we might be able to help each other.
I thought...
Security's all over you, which I could help you with.
Stop! Okay, whoa. That was you back there? You're a cat?
No, this is 808. She is a cat, but I built her. Look, like I was saying...
You know, I thought my music robot arm power was crazy, but this is... probably better off by myself.
Dude, listen. Vandelay's up to something, and I said I can help.
Thanks, but I'm good.
It's not responding. What did you do?
Oh, hold on, did you just feel that? That beat? I think we got something here.
Look who's back. Andy's got a friend? Thanks to 808, Chai's got a new skill up his sleeve. A beat hit. It's a timing-based bonus attack at the end of a combo. On the last hit, watch for the timing circle and press any attack button to land it. Talk is cheap. Let's try it out. There it is, going pro. To land a beat hit, listen to the countdown or look for the two circles overlapping to nail perfect timing. Try a beat hit with your heavy combo. You're on your own with this one.
This is awesome!
Beat hits are key for doing strong combos and damage, so don't forget to feel that beat.
808, was it? I think we got something going on here. Hey, so offer reconsidered, but I'm gonna borrow your cap for a little bit.
What? Why?
Hey, you wanted to help, right? And don't worry, it's just till I get out of here.
You better not run off with her.
Characters are really cool so far. It is, but I think it.
You seem to have a new friend. I hope it has not replaced me.
Wait, we were friends?
But you seem able to do a beat hit now.
Wow, you really can't read into my innermost thoughts.
Correctly activating a beat hit seems to unleash enormous power. The musically inclined may be able to just hear the countdown and attack accordingly. But a more visual solution is to wait until timing circles overlap. If you're still having trouble, you can tap the attack button every beat before the attack and still land it as well. You'll want to use this one, so I'll be your practice buddy. How about a light combo first? I know you know this one.
Ah, hold on. Give me another shot.
And now let's try that heavy combo again. I want to see you shine. Such energy. It gives me tingles. Please enjoy a cool and calming beverage. I'll be here if you want to practice more.
Bring it on. Ready for more?
That will never not be cool. The last hit finish. Slow-mo cool.
Well, that looks like all of them.
Maybe things aren't so bad after all.
Okay. Remind me to ask you later how you did all that.
Like I know. Anyway, your turn. I need to get out of wherever I am.
You're in production, and the only direct exit is through quality assurance. You see it?
So many buildings. It's hard to tell.
It's the one that literally says QA Center on it.
Oh, yeah. That one.
But with that way out, they're probably expecting you, so...
You had me at way out. Let's go.
Right to the beat for a higher score. By constantly comboing, landing beat hits, and attacking to the beat, you can raise your rhythm meter. Rhythm meter can go up from a rank D to S. Higher rank, higher score multiplier based on performance. Battle, you receive bonuses towards your final rank. Higher rank, just timing, good stuff, yada yada yada. Cool. Oh shit.
Being cocky isn't gonna get you out of here.
The best solution is the most obvious.
That's wrong and terrible advice. You're wanted. We need to outsmart them.
Well, then I'll fight my way out.
Are you an idiot? That's literally the opposite of outsmarting them.
Uh-oh. Get my timing down.
I'm telling you, that was Kale in the flesh. You don't even have flesh. You wouldn't know. Actually being in production, does that count that I met him? No, it doesn't. So get over it and let's fix this staircase.
compensate for added Project Armstrong flow, a new day of the week was added. Please note on this additional day of the week, working is mandatory.
Of course.
Oh, hello there again, friend.
Yeah. Hey.
I was just looking around, and it seems like the whole world seems to be moving to your musical superpowers.
You know, I was actually noticing that too.
Finding the beat is as simple as looking around. Even the environment reacts to the beat. I think this is what those young people call being in the zone.
Maybe? But anyways, that's cool.
In the zone.
Oh! I remembered something else.
Must be really important.
With everything moving to the beat, that also means Vandelay's robots. Looking at your recorded data, it seems all Vandelay security units are moving and acting to the same rhythm as you. Which means, by paying close attention, you'll know exactly when attacks will come. On the beat! Feel the beat to attack, feel the beat to dodge. Things are seeming quite simple now.
Only if you're musically inclined.
Oh, you look a bit tired.
I think I'm okay.
Sometimes it's best to take a rest. By that, I mean a rest combo. After a light attack hits, wait one beat, and then attack again with a light attack to create a new combo. You'll know when to press the beat because you'll hear a clap sound. And even better, this combo will take you and your enemies into the air.
Oh.
Wow. Sounds neat.
Aerial
But
combo.
I may need
Aerial
practice.
rave.
I hoped you'd say that. Take my breath away.
Weird.
Yeah, sure.
Now that's it. Enjoy a drink. On me, of course.
You're too nice. I feel like you're gonna do something weird later. Nobody's that nice. I don't care if they're robots. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. I think I found a shortcut.
Yeah, sure.
A little 2D action.
Whoa,
I can dig
this
it.
campus is huge. It's more like a city.
The perks of being the world's leading tech company. Vandelay likes to show off. But I'm looking for what they're hiding.
Oh, you like digging up secrets. How about telling me your name?
If it took you this long to ask, you can wait a bit longer.
I'm Chai, by the way.
Chai? All right then.
Wow! A lot of shortcuts around here.
That's pretty cool. It runs on loop.
Battery production activated. Don't touch the red lasers. Obviously.
Okay.
I wouldn't touch that.
I'm gonna touch it.
Well, you're not dead. That's a plus.
The opposite, actually. It feels like I'm powered up.
808 is showing me you've got a lot of energy stored up in your arm. How about letting it out?
Build up energy in this reverb gauge on these special attacks. Enough energy stored up, the reverb gauge will glow, let you know that you can launch into a special. Press R to activate the attack, consume restored energy. Attacking on B, collecting batteries, recharge the
Please don't
gauge.
explode.
Stop and right back up. Look over here first. Always check all the rooms.
Oh, wow! You seem to be able to now use special attacks.
That literally just happened.
Reminder, I know a lot about you.
Yeah.
But these special attacks are key. You really are channeling your energy here. Landing beep hits will knock batteries out of your enemies to charge your reverb gauge. But it seems like all the energy will disappear after a battle. Seems like you aren't built to hold that much of a charge. So remember to use it while you have it.
Like they say, if you don't use it,
You live with constant regret over what could have been, correct?
You lose.
that's not how I remember it.
Found him!
Smoke bag.
Wrecker wants him wasted. So let's waste him. Boy.
Crossed out waves. It's
Not
nothing.
bad at all.
Oh, you got me, Chris. This is it's pretty rad. Pretty rad. I don't know why I'm getting Spyro vibes off of this. See, I done told you. Yes, you did, Sykes. I never doubted you. I was busy. And when the time came, I was poor. But I appreciate the gift. It's pretty good so far. I like a lot. Oh, shit. I'm trying to get crushed. DMC Beautiful Joe vibes from this game. Oh yeah, definitely. It's really cool because like the Devil May Cry formula is very versatile. There's you know, like Bayonetta, Hi-Fi Rush, this game, and I wouldn't say Ninja Gaiden is in there. Ninja Gaiden is different enough, even though they're technically the same kind of category. I say they're different enough, but this definitely works. It's like Devil May Cry.
Uh-oh. Power's out. Generator looks busted.
Did you fix it? Any tools nearby?
Tools? I got a better idea.
You know, I like his main character so far too. He's actually pretty funny. Terrible. I'm so hitting that. I know I'm hitting that. Too late. Okay, I'll wait till once it gets in. Oh, I'm stupid. I picked the wrong damn.
Goes on.
Ask me if I'm paying attention.
I told you to check that generator. You had one job. You set me up. What? Rekka will destroy both of us if we run behind. Well, someone fixed it, so stop yelling at me.
Let me figure out those dodges. There you go. Cool.
Reminder. Sick days must be registered 6 months before desired date. Asterisk. Sick days for robotic employees will not be approved.
I mean, that kind of makes sense. You're a robot. How do you get sick if you're a robot? Tough enemies won't react to your attacks until you break the stun gauge. Once it's broken, you can knock them back between the air for air combo. You'll need to continuously attack the enemy to break them. Leave them alone for too long and they'll recharge their gauge. Focus your attacks on a single enemy or to take them out faster. Ooh. It's just like Final Fantasy. I do bullshit stun mechanic, except in this game it actually makes sense. Yeah. That record's weird. Let's go down. Oh, I can do it in here. Doesn't look like I can do it in here. No biggie. Okay.
Rhythm games are too hard. I want to relax, but you gotta time it right. I'll get back to work. Just one more game.
Spoken like a true gamer.
How about combining those heavy and light attacks for even more combos and beat hits? Now's the time to try it out.
Oh yeah. Oh, okay, I see. This game runs really smooth too. It's almost like optimization was like a higher than high priority. You're reminded of a combo.
Time to mix heavy and light attacks. Timing gets a little trickier, but give it a shot. You are really good at this. Got another combo for you. Let's see how you handle this one. Hey, don't give up. Perfect, like it should be.
Perfect.
Almost out of here.
I kind of like the cat better when there was like a cat talking. Come on, give me some more.
Huh?
Well, actually fighting is fun. Yeah.
Hey, look! Exit! Told you this was easy.
That's bait, idiot. They're clearly expecting you.
With what? Nothing I can't handle.
Dude is like the definition of confidently cocky. Rocket launchers.
You must disapprove. Yet I do not. Please, I have work to do.
See something up there. Excellent. Really cool character so far.
See, just like I thought. It's fine. You need to relax.
Introducing the head of production,
Uh-oh.
Oh no.
Some hurt. No, this ain't no Frontiers or something.
Man, messing with Rekka's crew, Rekka's production, and worst of all, yeah, Rekka's perfect, no defect record.
Your security tried to kill me!
Project Armstrong, EULA. Fine print. Should've read it, punk. Defects get recalled.
Recalled? You mean killed?
Rekka ain't picked the verbs. That's for the mooks in marketing. Anyway,
Thanks for being dumb enough to just waltz in here. Rekka ain't gotta get her hands dirty.
I like
I
Rekka.
told you. Welcome to the Project Armstrong defect check, honey.
Cosplay
And our
Rekka on the
QA is
child.
the best in the business. Hey-o!
Straight up wrestler vibe.
I like defense.
That's good?
I like how they taste.
Oh, that's bad.
Inspection level 1 million.
Let's rock, big boy.
Bring it.
Chai, his hands are extra sensitive for, inspecting.
Weird way to say hit them, but okay.
Hands down, Chai. Go get him.
Getting very gritty.
I get to use these. Try and dodge this.
Oh shit. Didn't know I could fall this thing. Gosh, Sonic Adventure already prepared me for that, man. Dodge this.
Time to get serious.
literally say weak point on his forehead?
By design. Speaks for itself. You almost got him!
I can see that! You got a killer track. But every song's gotta end.
In the face. Ow. Well, if this isn't like a comic or something already, it should be. On the thing.
Huh? Whew.
I feel like get up. A little too lax. That's pretty rad.
Whoa! Did you see that?
Yeah. But this time, just shut up and follow me. We really gotta get out of here.
You don't say.
No complaining this time.
All right.
Are you scared?
What? No. I mean, it is a little dark. Hey, there are no spiders down here, right? Or like robot spiders? Oh, please don't let there be robot spiders. This it?
In here.
Hello? Catbot?
Gotcha, bitch.
A
Chick from
rope
Gravity
snare?
Rush.
What are you? Cartoon character?
So that's where the magic happens, huh? My name is Peppermint.
Wait, that voice! You're the cat!
808 is my eyes and ears out there. And it looks like she's taken a liking to you.
Wait, okay, she's yours! She's yours!
Get up, slacker. We've got work to do.
So, 808 said you were gonna help me get out of here.
I am. Right after you help me look into Spectra.
I don't even know what that is.
Don't expect you to. This is whistleblower level.
So... bad?
Yes. And I'm working with a team to expose them. We're small, but...
Small meaning just you and your cats? I'm bigger than this.
Says Rockstar here. Do you even actually play guitar?
Well...
Fraud.
Figures. I'll talk. Look. This campus is a maze of hallways, lifts, and dead ends, filled with security. You'll need my help to get out of here.
Nah, so far I've done pretty...
Horrible if it wasn't for me? Look, if you help me, I'll make sure you get off Vandalay Island.
Fine. Whatever, I guess.
Perfect.
Enjoy some downtime between missions at the hideout. Chat it up, relax before next mission, or just take in the vibe. As your adventure continues, more points of interest will be added, so make sure to take some time looking around. Walk around the hideout, chat, interact with things, then sit down on the couch to move the story ahead. Wall of Fame at the back of the, what the hell's the cat doing? Has goals and rewards for you to attempt as you continue your adventure.
This is your hideout? You really are a small operation.
Well, now we're +1. You can rest on that sofa.
Luxury suite, I see.
By the way, I may be able to help you out with some upgrades if you have some spare parts. Let's chat before we head out.
Don't mind if I do. This also gives me some Jet Set Radio vibes, which is good. It's very good.
I'm not the master of Vandalay tech, but with some gears, I may be able to give you a bit more fight.
More fight? Can you be more specific?
See, attacks,
I
special
set up a
attacks,
shop for you.
items.
Here you can learn new attacks. You can use them just by buying them. Here's your chance to learn new special attacks. Each attack requires a certain amount of reverb gauge, so make sure you have enough before buying. Also, special attacks need to be equipped. You can't just use them all.
I see. So, I'll just slot in my attack, and I'm good to go.
And finally, here are items for some permanent upgrades.
What's this?
I've got an idea for something, but let's just say it's still in pre-pro.
How are you doing all this with gears?
Don't underestimate me. I can do more than you think.
All right. Let me see what you got.
What are you buying? Oh, I think I want to get all my attacks up first. I want that one. Harmonic beam. That looks pretty cool. I want that one. Turn up. Let's get that one too. I'll just save points for that. Sure, why not? same way.
So, 808s. You seem to be enjoying this.
Oh, you can pet the cat achievement. How
Man,
typical.
what have I gotten myself into? Well, at least it'll be a cool story to tell in 5 years. Maybe I'll chill out here for a little bit longer.
Well, I'm guessing the autosave, so I'm gonna take 5 right quick, y'all. Give me some beverage, and I'll be right back on. And then we might get into some talks about why the stream is called why it's called what it's called. I think it's important to begin the process of trying to find and vet. Let me switch this. To find and vet people willing, able, who kind of share the idea of of trying to help build a foundation for a new gaming industry. I think that's very important. I kind of wanted to start the stream with this Hi-Fi Rush since I had it, and when we get back, I'll pull up some articles and some videos, and we'll have a nice little discussion about some of this stuff. But like I said, I'll be right back. Give me about 5-10 minutes. And we're back. Let's see here. There we are. Okay. So, I'm gonna stop this game for now. We need to get down to brass tacks as to why it is important to galvanize gaming's GOATs for the coming next generation of gaming. For the gamers, by the gamers, you get the whole drill. But let's see here. Over here. Put on my glasses. There's a lot of things to consider when it comes to doing things like make a new gaming industry. And I kind of want to go over a few things that may be worth discussing, or at least putting into perspective when it comes to, you know, doing something like this, because this is going to be a long time out. This definitely isn't something that's going to get done in a couple years, not even 5 years, maybe not even 10 years, possibly 10 years, maybe, you know, within 10. I think 10 is a bit of a stretch, but depending on how much momentum we can get going, I think that'll determine how things turn out 10 years out from now. Of course, I think that's being relatively generous for what I want to do. It's a lot of things, for sure, but I don't think it's impossible. So the first thing that's probably need to be taken into consideration is, let's switch to this for right now. The message. The message is very important. And it's one of the things that is lacking the most. Let's see. Let's save that. The message is one of the most important things, and it's probably the most important aspect for step one of trying to do something like this. I'm gonna try to pull up a few things of importance as they relate to our goal, my goal, which will soon, I would like to soon, you know, hope to share is our goal, our goal. And one of those being graphics, graphical fidelity, and how that may not be a goal, or it shouldn't be a priority when it comes to developing a new gaming industry. Now, graphics are good, all that stuff, fantastic, but the issue I have with graphics as they are, let's turn this on. Is it screen capture? Boom. Graphical fidelity. Digital Foundry is a very interesting channel. They do a lot of good work when it comes to looking at the performance of a lot of games, a lot of metrics that they go off of that's very useful when it comes to getting information. And the issue I have with a lot of games nowadays is that they put way too much time. I think the budget for a lot of games gets bloated because of things like graphical fidelity. This whole push for ultra realistic, photorealistic, and in my opinion, I don't know for sure, I'm not a game developer, but once I figure all that stuff out, but just from the outside looking in at games like Star Wars Jedi Survivor, for example. This is a very good looking game, but the problem I have with it is that it is, a lot of games seem to come out with the same issue. They do a tech analysis and they talk about how some things are compromised, some things lead into issues as it relates to the how the game runs across all the different platforms. It runs better on this platform under these conditions. This platform doesn't have all the formats in which to play, like performance mode. And I get the impression that too many resources are put into things like that that kind of ruin the overall appeal for the game at the end of the day. Because even though the Star Wars game looks very good, a lot is taken from it because of graphical fidelity. And the problem with this industry is that too many people, gamers included, put way too much stock into things like that, photorealistic graphics. And it seems something like photorealistic graphics is one of the things that balloons the file sizes of a lot of these games. Hi-Fi Rush, from what I played, is how many gigabytes is this game? I think it's no more than 10, a little over 10. Let's see. Local files, 15. So the unique thing about Hi-Fi Rush is that a game like this, as fun as it is, I've only played about an hour or so into it. 2.5 hours according to this. 2.5 hours into this game, and it feels like a classic title, something that could have come out within 6th gen, and something that looks like it could easily fit into 6th gen. Much more optimized, obviously, but 15 gigabytes. Game, I believe, around $30. A friend of mine got the game for me, but I think it was around $30. A $30 game that looks that colorful and that expressive, with very little in the way of performance issues, at least on my end, playing it for about 2.5 hours, runs really smooth, looks very good, bright and colorful. The voice acting is solid, and it feels like a video game, not like this realistic experience that seems to permeate all throughout the AAA industry. And that's why the indie scene is what I find to be the I don't want to call them the golden goose, because it just, that implies, I feel like it's too much of a negative connotation for me. But the future of gaming, as far as a solid, good gaming experience, lies within the independent industry, the indie scene. Because only there are you going to be able to find people who put a lot more dedication and passion into their projects, primarily because they don't really have the backing of the AAA, which I view as a blessing. Problem with the AAA industry is that too much of their bottom line, they're so focused on making money that they're not willing to take risk. And a safe investment for them is super duper high fidelity graphics and very safe or mediocre dialogue. So I'm going to look at a little bit of this Digital Foundry video, and then we're going to pull up another game that for a little while I had a very invested interest in, but unfortunately, it was the byproduct of many of modern gaming's shortcomings. But let's start with Digital Foundries.
Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order was a very interesting game, if not an entirely successful one, combining the exploration and puzzle solving of Metroid games with combat mechanics inspired by Dark Souls, but the game itself was saddled with technical issues, particularly at launch, that dampened the experience.
That is too common. Passion, creativity, innovation, exactly. And a lot of that stuff falls short when it comes to AAA games like this, and I believe it's because of how much of their resources they put into the presentation. And it's not even the presentation that you can really feel. It's more of a look. Like, even though this game looks very good, it reminds me of the Uncharted 3 or 4, where even though that was a good game, there are so many set pieces that required you to do very little in terms of engaging with the actual game, and more so just watching. Just kind of sit back and enjoy the look at all this nice stuff we got. It's all this nice shit. Look at how pretty doesn't the game look very good? The other problem with AAA is that if they fail somehow, they go upwards. If you're an independent scene, if you fail, that's it. Yes, risk. Risk breeds true commitment. because at the very least, when there's a risk of failure, the best thing you get out of that is you learn from it. A lot of these AAA industries don't learn from anything. They continuously fail, and they have so much money that they could just reinvest it into a new blah project. Or the project from the jump is so deadpan or safe that it'll make just enough to justify being around even longer, despite it being it'll be a mediocre at best type situation that still brings in some level of income or money because of how good it looks. Forspoken. Everyone kind of agrees that game was really a stinker. It wasn't anything to write home about, despite how pretty it looked, how gorgeous it looked. But again, plagued with technical issues at launch, and the expectation for games like that, I feel like they really hit a ceiling because there's only so much you can do with graphics. Graphics are nice, but they shouldn't be the biggest part of a development's budget. And that's what I think it is. They put so much time with these Luminous engines, these like the RE engine. Don't get me wrong, very nice looking engines, produce very good images. But the problem is that they all start to look the same. Everyone's pulling an Unreal to some degree. It's either put a bunch of money into you're making your own engine that looks like photorealistic shit, or outsource it to Unreal. Either way, you're gonna spend a shit ton of money. And in my opinion, that's just very it's counterproductive, and it's one of the reasons why the industry cannot move forward. I honestly believe we have hit graphics. Looking better than this isn't as impressive as graphics looking better between 6th and 7th gen. That's the problem with photorealistic anything, because photorealism, they take the images or screen scans from existing architecture or environments. Again, super cool, but I think they've hit the wall because the thing they're focusing so much on now is stuff like ray tracing, realistic light bouncing off of shit, which cool, I guess, but is that really the way forward for a new gaming experience? Like, what is that doing for me as I play the game besides looking better? Because the games, graphic wise, they already look very good, solid. Even in last gen, the graphics look very good, depending on what game you played. Rise, Son of Rome, The Order 1886. Those are examples of games that have taken away far too much in the way of gameplay and invested it heavily too much into the presentation. The look looks good, man. It looks amazing, but where's the game? It feels like, I don't know if, of course, a lot of you younger folks don't know, but for us older guys, a few DVDs had this game where you could play it, and the only real input you could do was on the DVD controller or the remote. If your remote had arrows left, right, up, down. And what they would do is they would take scenes from the movies and pretty much just clip out success. If you hit the button correctly, you continued. If you hit the button wrong, it plays the scene from the movie as if you failed. The laziest, most inept type of game you could possibly get. Now, back then it was pretty. It wasn't like anything major. It was an extra feature on a DVD. It wasn't like you expected it to be amazing. Nice little add-on. But it feels like that's where the industry is going. A little bit more complex and nuanced, but ultimately, you're just watching a movie. It's one of my biggest criticisms of most of Sony's AAA games, like God of War. It's like that. You spend more time watching this game than you do playing it. And the gameplay is pared back significantly from the previous iteration of God of War. And I know a lot of folks will try to sit here and defend, like, God of War, the new one's fun. You could do crazy combos. Like, yeah, but you couldn't do them like you could in God of War 1, 2, or 3. Let's get real, dude. God of War 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and 3, they didn't look anywhere near as pretty, obviously. But if you ask me which one I'd rather play the earlier 3. Because they look fun. You can do things like jump, aerial combos, all types of stuff. you can't really do that to the same degree in the new God of War because it spends so much time jacking off to his own look. And then the cutscenes, oh my god, the cuts, so much time is spent taking control away from you, forcing you to just watch. It was one of the reasons why I couldn't really get into the first God of War. I really tried to play it because, you know, I was like, yeah, I'm not a God of War fan, but I do like the franchise enough to, you know, try it out at least. I played the first 3. I don't think I really beat many of them because that was really my friends. It was their cup of tea. I like Ninja Gaiden and Devil May Cry more, but it was still fun. The same type of game. It was literally in the same category. And this new God of War just felt like a chore to play. Looked very pretty, but it's like, man, I'm not really having fun. You know, Hi-Fi Rush is fun. That game really takes engagement to a whole nother level with the whole integration of music. You play to the beat. And the better you play to the beat, the more points you get, the more damage you get. You're incentivized to engage more into the game. Whereas something like this, Jedi Fallen Order, looks like just another one of those movie-esque gaming experience where there's gonna be a lot of points, just like in this scene we're seeing right here, where when control is taken from you and you're just allowed to do very few things in order to land into the next set piece.
A pretty brisk 3.5 years later, and Respawn has delivered its sequel, Star Wars Jedi Survivor. This is a boundary-pushing current-gen exclusive built on Unreal Engine 4 with ray tracing and advanced image reconstruction.
Yeah, see, all those things sound so plain to me now. It's not impressive. Look, I'll be honest, I like the new God of War look compared to the first 3 games and the PSP games. I have to take the old ones. New God of War feels like Uncharted mixed with something else. Well, that's what I say. They all kind of share a similar profile now. And that's a lot of these games. They're either over the shoulder or behind the back type. And the thing is, games like that can work. But you can see how much you're sacrificing for the sake of immersion. Like, when I watched Digital Foundry, like when I first got into Digital Foundry, the things that I really cared about the most was how well certain cards had games performing. The performance mode, like do these games hit 60 on the AMD side, or do they hit 60 on more often on NVIDIA side? And as time went on, as the next generation came out, the new cards came out, and pretty much all the cards have gotten so good to where even the low-end cards on the last 2 generations of graphics cards can hold up pretty well beyond 1080p, even 1440p. Hell, like I got a 3060, and it runs 1440p, no problem. Eats it up like it's nothing. And that's like the lower tier card of NVIDIA's last gen lineup. And I'd even go something like maybe even a 2060 can probably do that. I don't know. It took me forever. The last card I had before this one was the 1660 Super, and before that it was a 970. And for as far as like 1080p, flawless damn near. But now it seems like in order to justify these newer cards, the 7000 series from AMD or the 4000 series from NVIDIA, they got to push all this artificial stuff like ray tracing, contact shadows, all this other shit that I think adds significantly more budget to modern games now in order to justify using the power that these cards have. And it's just it's just pointless, because if you look at the indie scene, most of their games can probably still be ran very solidly on a 970 or a 5700. So one of the things when it comes to looking at the prospects for a new gaming industry is to very much pare back graphical fidelity to this degree. Games can look awesome. They should look awesome. But they should be able to play just as awesome from day one instead of you having to do a thing like this wait for endless patches for stability or performance issues that plague the game on launch that you know the developers know about, but they still choose to sell the game. This is why it's hard for me to get excited for anything in the AAA space. And if you think about how the AAA games of 6th gen, a lot of them just worked. Hell, I don't even think you could say there was a AAA. AAA didn't really become a distinct thing, I don't believe, until 7th gen, to be honest. There were a lot of big games in 6th gen, but I can't really think of many that would be considered AAA to the same degree that we have today. But even GTA, I mean, as great as that game was, I don't really think I considered it like of that caliber, that high. Jedi Fallen Order was good to me. Don't know about Jedi Survivor yet. Well, like I said, I'm pretty sure they're good games, but the issue I have with them is that they seem bloated. They, like, okay, let me reevaluate. Let's be honest, the independent scene mostly uses 2D sprites with pixel art, and for the 3D, use an Unreal Engine, but find time to innovate ways to spice things up. True, but the biggest issue that I think plagues the AAA space is size. I forgot who I was talking to, or I was watching a video, one of the two. I think I was talking to Cross. The size of these games are so massive that you can't really truly own them the same way you did games back in the day. I do not know what size Jedi Fallen Order is, but if I had to guess, it's probably at least, on the low end, 50 gigabytes. It's gotta be. Because this game looks like it's going to be, a lot longer, a lot more cutscenes, a lot more condensed graphical enhancements and stuff. All those textures got to load up somewhere. And even with Spyro the Reignited Trilogy, that whole fiasco with the size of the game. And to me, the AAA industry is pushing towards it's almost impossible for you to have like several games on one hard drive unless you buy like several terabytes. To me, that's just overly excessive because, especially with the consoles, if you can call consoles that anymore, how many games that you purchase are you actually keeping on there that you can actually play? It's one of the reasons why I traded in my PlayStation 4, because the most I could get on there after buying like maybe 2 or 3 AAA titles was like 7. And that was assuming at least 3 or 4 of those games were like really small. But when I stupidly decided to give the Final Fantasy VII remake a shot, 100 gigabytes. And I'm like, damn, the PlayStation only got 500 maybe? So that's one whole game taking up a fifth of the drive. More than a fifth. So, and then you got all the apps and all that shit, and then the constant updates that slowly eat up space. And it's like, that's not something you would have to think about. Jedi Survivor is 150. Oh my god. Really? 155 gigabytes. Bruh. You cannot tell me that's bloatware. You could make the same exact game with the same graphical fidelity of Hi-Fi Rush for, I know, less than half of the file size, dude. I know you could. Because if you look at Hi-Fi Rush, like, the thing, it's so aggravating. Because even Tekken 7, as much as I love that game, rolling around 70, 80 gigs with all the content downloaded. And it's just like, yo, man, this is too much. It's too excessive. I mean, if you got the space for it, fine. But back in the day, you could have had, and that's I think that's another aspect to think about. Back in the day, everything was on physical media, right? You had your DVD disc and CD disc and all that stuff. Hardly none of these games can even fit on that anymore. Because I think a typical Blu-ray disc was around, I can't remember. I remember looking into it with Red Dead Redemption 2, because that game is sitting at 100 gigs. But I think a Blu-ray disc sits about 50 gigs. on each side, I think. 50 on each side. So I guess realistically 100. I could be wrong. Feel free to correct me. But I think a typical dual-sided Blu-ray disc could hold 100 gigabytes on its own. And a lot of these games are so big that there is no way in hell you could really download them off of one disc. And of course, with the modern gaming and all this stuff being is a modern day, everyone wants to pull the whole, we care about the climate and resources are running thin and this is the only way forward. No. I actually like the appeal of multiple discs being used for a single game, because to me that meant the game was juicy. That was a juicy game. Instead of, I'd rather have 4 discs as opposed to 155 fucking gigabytes of space gone on my hard drive, on my little puny console hard drive that can't even hold 4 of those games. And every AAA game is doing this, every single one. And it's because of the graphics engines they use. These photorealistic graphics are expensive. They're expensive to house, expensive to store, expensive to pull up in real time. And I just don't get it. But that's why when I say a new industry, it's a completely step away from stuff like this, because this is excessive. It's too much. 155 gigabytes for context shadows. Ooh, you can see the sword light gleaming off of his chin hairs, and it's like that's not really important anymore. It's not important because it's not impressive anymore. We've had good graphics for like 3 generations now, and like their improvements have been incremental. They haven't been like wow. Just give you some retrospect. Respawn made this game. It's something like, to me, in my opinion, one of those greatest shooting games of all time. Titanfall is 45 gigs. Yeah, again, like Respawn, they're a AAA developer. But if you look at the whole push for games being more expensive, I don't agree with that. I think a lot of these games should stick around the $40 range, no more than $50. Because when games first started costing $60, I was like, okay, that's kind of And now they're saying some of these are supposed to be worth $70, and their logic or reasoning behind it is because games are harder to make. That's bullshit. I don't believe that shit. You guys are just making this shit more expensive because of how much you're pumping into these graphical fidelity. This is the shit that's expensive. This right here. It's not that the game, okay, I will say the game is more difficult, but that's because you guys are bloating, filling it in with a bunch of stuff that doesn't really matter. Like, for the ability for this light to work a certain way, this ray tracing shit, the hair waves perfectly. There's so many, like in Resident Evil 4 Remake, Leon's hair strands is a whole setting. And it's like, is that really necessary? Chai's hair in Hi-Fi Rush looks just fine. We don't need to see every individual strand because that is more expensive to develop for, obviously. But again, like I said, even with all that and taking into consideration, it makes these games massive. That's too many parts operating at the same time, and on launch, and so often these games struggle because they still need months, probably years worth of bug smashing, patching, optimization for it to just run solid from day one. A lot of these AAA big budget games can't run for shit day one. What was that Dead Space game? It wasn't Dead Space, but it was that indie AAA game that they came out with. That's supposed to be like a horror game. Also had shit wrong with it at launch. I don't remember the name of it because I didn't really follow it. I just know the girl that played Kimiko from The Boys. She was in that game. But again, they spent all this money on actors, getting actors who are probably have huge egos and won't do it for less than $50,000 or some shit. Same thing with Cyberpunk. all that money y'all spend on Keanu Reeves when you could have just did Edge Runners, the game. But no, you know, marketing. That's where the budget for these games go. Hell, most of it not even spent on the game, because by the time the game come out, it's still a piece of trash. Day one. And you gotta wait months for them to patch it up, optimize it, clean it up to where it's like playable without you having to do anything ridiculous in order to keep it. So that's one of the biggest things. If there's going to be a chance of building a new gaming industry, the first thing that's got to go is the whole thing with realistic graphics. That shit has got to stop. Replace high fidelity graphics with creative, creativity. Create these worlds from scratch and build them up with simple aesthetics, not so much realistic, because that real shit costs money. Hold on, I need to add I almost forgot to add my view count. I don't even know where that's at. Give me 1 second. I knew something was missing. Give me a second. View counter. Yeah, I totally forgot about that. Let's see, add source. There we go. Let's put that up there so we know where we're at. But yeah, so ideally, in a new gaming industry, you want to pare back a lot of the stuff. A new industry is gonna have to be a lot of sacrifices are gonna have to be made, but for the better as far as the gaming experience goes. Super duper high graphics have been around for at least 3 generations now, and their increase in terms of like the gameplay experience, I think, has been minimal. Looks very good, don't get me wrong, but as far as I'm getting if they get any better than this, which I'm sure they're possible, I'm not saying that's not possible, but if they get any better than this, then your average game is gonna be 200 gigs. It could be the shortest piece of shit game you've ever played, but it's gonna be so fat and thick that your brand new Xbox or PlayStation is gonna need a whole freaking. It's gonna need like several external hard drives in order to run any of this shit, and that's not fun. You know, games are supposed to be quick access to a creative outlet, not a extra thick, not a liability. Because this technology and stuff is great and all, you know, I'm not trying to downplay it or anything, but as far as the gaming experience goes, it's taking too much. It's taking way too much than it has earned. So pretty graphics can be pretty. Like I said, Hi-Fi Rush, beautiful looking game, colorful, and there's enough creative stuff going on to keep you occupied. It's not so busy, and the less time you spend doing this, is the better. Because, like, again, games like Dark Souls 3, very beautiful game. Elden Ring, these are beautiful games, but the size is getting a little ridiculous, man. It's just getting it's becoming too much. And in a new video game industry, there needs to be a cap on how large these games can get, because when you add things like DLC on top of it, you're bringing the content along with a huge influx of stuff like graphical fidelity that makes this stuff even fatter, even heavier, even more of a burden on whatever hard drives you have, making it hard, in my opinion, to run any of these games. And, well, not just run them, but just keep them. It's kind of hard to keep games like that. Grounded, yes, exactly. You know, Grounded, very simple game. Big as hell, huge, less than 20 gigabytes. That is a solid game, through and through. It doesn't have to look super real. It just has to look, engaging, immersive. You don't have to have super photorealistic grass. That game had a lot of things going on with a nice, visually aesthetic, colorful, popping look to keep you engaged. I had a lot of fun with that game. Me and Young Sykes played the hell out of it. To completion, actually. So, that's the biggest thing. Graphics need to be pared back significantly. Next thing, I think, limitations. There's got to be a cap for a lot of these huge games. One of the best advantages that 6th Gen had, of course we didn't see it at the time because this part of the industry was growing, but one of the best advantages that I believe 6th Gen had was limited hardware. Hardware now is damn near infinite. It's you might as well just say it's limitless. And they fill in all that space for power with graphics. And that's kind of a waste to me. It's a waste because it makes things, it overcomplicates things, and it makes things too huge. You have to sit here and download hundreds of gigabytes in order to play one game. I think the most, if for a solid gaming industry, for like the average game, it should be no bigger than 40 gigabytes, in my opinion. No bigger than 40. I'm not sure how big Monster Hunter World was when it first came out. I want to say the base game was 20 gigabytes, 20 to 25, maybe 30, just for the base version of World. And I think that should be like the average limit for just the game. Now, you can add on top of that in the form of expansions like Iceborne or whatever. But even then, I think you could get away with quite a bit with 50 gigabytes. Let's check. Let's see how big Monster Hunter World is, because I have that downloaded too, along with the add-on Iceborne. Let's see, Hi-Fi Rush, Marvel vs. Capcom, blah blah blah. Monster Hunter World. How big is that bad boy? Local files, 98 gigabytes. 98 freaking gigs. Well, let's check the base game. I want to say it was 25. The whole size of Monster Hunter. I think we'll see it. Where is it at? Okay. Oh, 52 gigabytes. Okay. I was hella wrong. But, like I said, I think 52. I think that should be like the size. 150 gigs for the whole game. Well, I think as far as base game goes, I think it said 50. I think that's good enough. The size of Monster Hunter World, and I don't want to play favorites because I love Monster Hunter World. The game is amazing. But even then, you kind of have to be careful. When it comes to like a new industry, you want to avoid running into the same issues that plague the current industry. And I think the size of games plays a big part of that. And we're just kind of going over things that are within control. Like if you were to be able to build a whole different industry, you could set a boundary for those things from the start, so that you can operate within it. You'd be forced to be a little bit more creative, a little bit more mindful of your resources when it comes to the size of games. Because even though these games like Star Wars is huge, I don't think they do much in terms of pushing any real creative boundary outside of just pretty graphics. Ooh, you can look at the lightsabers, they do this and all that. But even with Monster Hunter World, that game is massive. Looks very good. Doesn't really follow a real... I think Monster Hunter World was more realistic. Rise is probably more of what I think should constitute as a norm. Because that game is for sure smaller in size compared to a World. Matter of fact, since I got it, we can look at it and we'll know for sure. Let's see, Rise. How big is Rise? I already got the whatchamacallit downloaded. Add-on for that. Yep. Less than half the size. 34 gigabytes. Rise, I think, is a better example for what I'm talking about. So, Those things to take into consideration. The size of games, reduce them significantly. Your biggest game can't be any more than 50 gigabytes because that is excessive. You can maybe allow for more when it comes to expansions, but it has to be in the form of just more content. Not all that has to go into graphics. Because graphics, like I said, they're heavy, they're thick, they're expensive. The textures, all that shit, you don't need all that. It's not necessary. Let the current industry take all that. All the people who love high fidelity, realistic, photorealistic bullshit like that, you guys can stay over here. Because apparently this is fine. I'm not trying to change the industry itself. I want to try to lay the foundation out for a new one, and for anyone who understands things on that level could just move here and we'll be on our way. Because a lot of games in 6th gen, back then we'd say they were graphically unsound, they didn't look good or whatever, but damn it, 6th gen had some of the best games ever, and you can't tell me otherwise because these generations keep trying to remake shit from previous generations. 5th gen and 6th gen, it's like, oh man, let's remake Spyro, let's remake Crash Bandicoot, let's remake Final Fantasy, let's remake this, let's remake that. It's like, you guys have ran out of steam. If the majority of your catalog for the past 2 generations have been remakes in some capacity, something's wrong. Especially when those remakes aren't treated with the same dignity and respect they should be. I'm thinking if anyone's supposed to have any word on or say on whether or not a game should be remade, it should be the original director. I think those are the only people who should have the leeway to greenlight a remake of a game that they previously worked on. I don't think Shinji Mikami worked on Resident Evil 4. I'm pretty sure he did. But I believe if he remade Resident Evil 4, we would have gotten a much better game. Much better game. Because he also remade Resident Evil 1. And he treated that game, was like, well, now that I have access to this new technology, these new methods and things, I could really make the game I wish I could have made back then. I have nothing but experience to throw all into this. Make it the best looking game ever. Other people picking up on the project that aren't originally tied to the original, they won't treat it fairly. They won't treat it right. They'll do the bare minimum and get away with it. If you don't believe me, play Resident Evil 4 Remake. That is a reimagining at best. Wouldn't even call it a remake, but that's the biggest thing. File sizes, decrease them significantly, especially with the way technology is now. We can spend a lot more time optimizing a game's performance rather than bogging the hardware down trying to generate all of this realistic bullshit that it has to constantly render for 60 frames per second when you can just cut the graphical fidelity in half and the game will always run at 60 frames per second. You could run it at 120 frames per second. It won't even choke because the hardware now is so strong to run simple graphics. It's like, imagine if there was no imagine if the hardware in 6th gen was as powerful as the hardware in 8th gen, but the games were like the same. We either have them at whatever aspect ratio or whatever frame rate. Frame rate would be unlimited, and all that extra resources and stuff you could just put into content, like more stages and stuff. You won't have to worry about expanding the game and just by adding a new area, automatically dropping an extra 20 gigs just to have it render. You can spend all that time doing stuff like better or more interesting gameplay mechanics or enemy type varieties or something. And that's the next thing I wanted to look at. Gameplay and content. I have a reason to believe, feel free to disagree with me, I could be dead wrong. I'm not a game developer yet. I could be dead wrong. But is it possible that if the resources that went into graphics if that wasn't the case, could that be put into the game's content? Imagine, let's say, I'm trying to think of a game that you guys would know about, because a lot of people don't know about Otogi, even though that's a fantastic game. It was on the original Xbox. Let's say, what is a fairly decent game that most people would know about that was in 6th gen? I don't want to use 7th gen. 7th gen is a little too new. I might have to, though. Well, let's stick with Otogi. Or Otogi. In case you guys don't know, I'll just pull it up. I streamed it a while back. Let's just look it up. Otogi. Where art thou, Otogi? Kingdom Hearts. Thank you, Young Sykes. Thank you. Perfect. Even better. Let's look at Kingdom Hearts. Let me pull up Digital Foundry again. Kingdom Hearts. Kingdom Hearts is a game that perfectly settles in 6th gen as a game that was very colorful, was not very demanding graphically, ran very smoothly on every platform it was on. Even on PlayStation 2, it ran pretty good. So instead of going the route they are with Kingdom Hearts 4, and they did with 3, with the whole Unreal Engine, we'll just say 4, because I never played 3, I can't really speak on it. But 4, I know for a fact they're really leaning into the whole Luminous type of engine where everything's a little more realistic and all this shit. Completely pulled me out of it because the game looked too much like Final Fantasy 15. And Kingdom Hearts is supposed to have that colorful, cartoonish feel that the Final Fantasy games developed into. They developed into a more realistic look. Kingdom Hearts is supposed to be the opposite of that, but looks just as good because a lot of it was based off of Disney aesthetic, cartoons, colorful cartoons. If looking at Kingdom Hearts 4, if it had the same type of aesthetic as Kingdom Hearts 2, how big do you think that game could actually be? If you had to like put 50 gigs into Kingdom Hearts 2, imagine how many more stages, how many more areas, how much more stuff you could do. They could have probably fit 80% of the Disney universe canon into a 50 gigabyte version of Kingdom Hearts 2. Hell, they probably could have did Kingdom Hearts 1, 2, and 3 on one game in terms of size alone. If everything, all the graphics or whatever was paired to Kingdom Hearts 2 level of fidelity, because it looked good, but it would run even better, and that would be a good reason to pay more than $60 for a game. I think if they had a game for that long, either that game be that long from the point A to when it first come out, or add-on DLC could just add on to that game. Yo, M Trilogy, welcome to the stream, man. Oh, by the way, y'all, I'm also streaming on Kick. Just set up the account and checked it out. We talking Kingdom Hearts? Yes, we are. We're talking about how I believe the new Kingdom Hearts, their push for realistic graphics, I think is going to hinder the game overall, because too many resources and the budget for the game is going to balloon. It's going to be the problem they had with Kingdom Hearts 3, but even worse. 1 and 2 were the best. Yes, because those games were very focused. They knew what they were supposed to be. They're supposed to be action adventure JRPG with the Disney aesthetic, bright and colorful, cartoon, very well animated. It said Kingdom Hearts 3 was mid. I think that's because too much of their time went into the graphics. They probably just wasn't sure where to go as far as what IPs to put in there from Disney. It's a real clusterfuck. Too much command reaction, and 1 and 2 were godlike. Yeah, because like I said, they were focused. They knew what they were. I think they kind of lost their way with Kingdom Hearts 3. And with Kingdom Hearts 4 looking like it's going to be more of the same. I don't even remember last time they said anything about it. They showed that trailer where he was running down a building, and I was just like, okay, just starting to look like Final Fantasy. There was a very distinct look between those two games, and now they've blurred the lines, and it's literally the same game again. But Josh, I don't want to be handicapped. I want to take up all your hard drive. Nah, dude, no. A 500 gigabyte hard drive should be able to house at least 100 games, man. At least, in my opinion. These companies gonna start selling their own HDs. I mean, they could. As far as we know, there's no telling. A lot of these companies are already trying to boost up their own, what do you call it? Storefront, Rockstar storefront, EA storefront. And it's going to get to a point where if the consoles ever stop being produced and they just become storefronts on PC. And that doesn't sound fun to me. I like consoles. The old consoles. There was a unique aesthetic within them that really compelled you to buy them. So I think that's the thing. Consoles, they got to be pared back because graphical fidelity has turned these modern consoles into just shitty computers. Those are annoying, man. The storefronts, yeah, Epic. It's like, okay, cool, make your money, but dang, like, it's like I'm downloading the console on my PC. I want a console. I want a physical. That was the main appeal for consoles, the physical state. You know, you can't download you can't get a physical copy of a PC game. As much as I love PC, there are some things that they just didn't have. Physical media was one of them. Can't you do what you're saying in today's engines? Yeah, you can, if you scale them down significantly. I think people should move away from Unreal, to be honest, because Unreal, every new iteration of that engine that they create becomes more and more complex. And it's obvious that their main goal with using an Unreal engine is photorealistic graphics, real-time lighting, and all that stuff. All that stuff, like I said, expensive, takes too long to maintain or build. Literally had to download those for certain games. Yeah, that's not fun, man. But Knockout City being one. Yeah, that's another good example of a very fun game. Locked behind the storefront, but just removing that game, perfect example of the type of game I'm talking about. The biggest issue with that is that it was live service. You can never own it. For whatever reason, if the storefront drops or EA decides they aren't making enough money off of it, they pull the plug. No one can play the game ever again. That's why I stopped playing. Because even though I was having fun, it was a fun game. It's the fact that I can't keep it. And that all it will take is for some other entity somewhere else to dictate whether or not I can play it, maybe not want it. Which is it's unfortunate because the game was fun. Same thing with Rumbleverse. I don't know if they're still up. I remember hearing that they were going to get pulled, but live service, I think, is one of the biggest sins in modern day gaming because it puts an artificial timer on the longevity of so many of these games under the excuse of, well, if they're not doing well, we can just kill it. Like, no, that's not fun. A lot of these modern gamers don't even know what it means to own shit. That's why I think games need to be pared down in terms of graphics, because in order if you download Fallen Survivor or Jedi Survivor, by the time you want to get the next big game, you're going to have to delete this shit just so you can have room to play the other game, which is not really owning it. So to me, that's just, it's horrible. This is like their sneaky backdoor way into the whole you'll own nothing and be happy. I want to bring back the days where you buy a game, the disc or whatever media physical variation that comes in, like this Smash Brothers. This little bitty ass card houses a very fun game, and if you wish, you can expand upon it with DLC. These games like this, like that's why Nintendo is the only company that gets credit for being pro consumer. You can actually buy their games, and they're small enough for you to actually walk into a store, purchase, and go home with. The majority of their games, they exist in a physical capacity. Games like this, they'll never be on Switch because they're too fucking fat. Ludic Lou, what's up, man? Nintendo Pro Afro. It really is. But with the new gaming... Ooh, man, I'm sorry. That kind of hurt. The new gaming industry, that needs to be like the bare minimum expectation. Physical copies, able to own your games, able to keep your games, able to trade your games. You keep some type of physical value. Not this downloadable shit where you have really no chance of keeping it because it's housed on a server somewhere and it's only a matter of time until these companies come up with a good enough reason as to why you can't download it again. Mortal Kombat 9. Can't download that shit anywhere. Good luck. And there's a lot of people are not going to go through the effort of trying to download buy a whole bunch of hard drives to download every game that ever came out. Especially like after 7th gen, you have no chance. Those games are too big. You'd have to be buying petabytes of hard drives. And that's just that's not something people should have to do. You can download the entire library of games from 5th gen and back. Maybe even 6th gen. Because they were all within 10 to 20 gigabytes in size. That's why I quit playing Overwatch. The game came out in 2016. The game that came out in 2016 doesn't exist anymore. Yeah. They'll sit here and patch the original game out of existence, and the only way you could continue to play it is by connecting to the internet. And continue to download patch after patch after patch. And don't get me wrong, patches serve a very good purpose, but only if utilized properly. I think the idea of patching is excellent. You know, when you think about it in practice, it's like, okay, let's say we put our whole foot into this game's development, and we really we took our time on it and fixed it and everything. The game is complete, playable, performance-wise, awesome. The game came out a few months in. Someone found an exploit that was not meant to be. Back in 6th gen, you just had to eat it. There was nothing you can do. Once the game was out, it was out. Like for the original Resident Evil 4 on the GameCube, there was a glitch in there that allowed Ashley to suplex enemies. She's not supposed to be able to do that. And that never got patched on the GameCube because it's not possible. It did get patched on the re-release on the PlayStation 2. But as far as the GameCube version, that's just in there. People need to, or gaming companies or developers need to develop games with the same level of ferocity and attention to detail as they did back in 6th gen, to where the only thing you could possibly find is something that is so obscure that you have to go out of your way to try to execute. Same reason I really don't want to get Exoprimal. Yeah, again, stupid. Makes no sense for it to be always online. That's not fun. I don't want to have to get permission from someone else to allow me to play a game that I spent money on. There was another game. I think it was made by, I don't know if it was Valve, but what was it? It was like a 4-on-1. It was a monster game. Evolve. Yeah. Evolve. Same problem. Base game, nothing there. It's meant to be a live service. Play it over time and we add shit. It's like, no, complete the game. You work on it. When you announce a game project that's in development, We don't want to hear shit about it after it comes out. Everything that we need needs to be there day one. It has to work. It has to perform. The performance metrics needs to be on point. It needs to be optimized, and all the content for the base game needs to be there. You can do DLC. I'm not against DLC, but the DLC has to be of value and it has to add to the game. It can't be this thing where you just intentionally drop stuff out for the sake of adding it later to make more money. That's, to me, that's gaming sin, and it's become so normalized now because every game that comes out has to be this AAA nonsense. Like I said, this game is probably a good game. Fallen Survivor, Jedi Survivor, whatever. But I promise this game could have been a lot better if they took some of the focus off of graphics. Because the majority of modern gamers now are so obsessed with something that they can't even truly interact with. You know, if you want to watch the movie, there's like a million Star Wars movies, dude. You can watch real actors play real roles and do all that stuff there instead of demanding that type of shit be in a video game. It's just counterproductive in my opinion. It doesn't really, it's not pushing the industry forward in any significant way as far as the gameplay experience. That's just my opinion. That's why I want the modern industry to remain. I don't want to replace it. I don't want to compete with it. I want it to stay here so that all the normies who love this type of shit can stay over here. That is ultimately what I want. But as far as like a true gaming experience, one that requires more from the gamer, like in 6th gen, I think that is that's the goal. That should be what we strive for, what we try to pursue. Because as long as games look the part and play the part, they'll succeed. Guaranteed. And looking at games like Hi-Fi Rush, I'd consider that to be I consider that game to be an example of a high-quality AAA game experience. Not this movie shit. A game that really emphasizes the engagement, the gameplay, the playability, and the how it performs, the performance. Game was running like a dream, and I am almost confident that if I still have my 970, the game will run just as well on there, 1080p, 720p maybe, I don't know. Of course, I think a new baseline for all games in this new industry should be 60 FPS, 1080p. And it should come in the form of a new console, a new physical piece of equipment that is powerful enough to run games like Hi-Fi Rush at very high performance metrics, over 60 FPS, maybe even 1440p, but it's not so demanding that it will cause the machine to choke. I think when I first noticed this BS is when Sony decided to deactivate the option to run Linux and all the PS3s, and if you couldn't agree with it, then you couldn't play any new games on the update for the system. Yeah, system updates. You don't know what's in them, and they can sneakily take away features, and you wouldn't know about it unless you're somebody who's like really, into that type of stuff. And again, not fair. That's wrong. Trying to push everybody to the next console, and I get it. You want the next console to be just as successful. You want it to be viewed as a better version. But I am of the opinion that in order to do that, to really convince people, you have to make a better product. That's all you have to do. You don't have to sit here and slowly kneecap the appeal of your previous console in order to sell more of your next console. It's a major dick move to remove something the system came with. Yeah, and it also encourages piracy. You know, at that point, you can't even argue against piracy because of it, people will be able to continue to play the games, whereas these companies are going out of their way to stop people from playing them, and instead offering us shitty remakes. trying to replace the past. That's another element about remakes I don't think a lot of people are ready to talk about. Like this Resident Evil 4 remake, you notice if you look on Twitch, it is impossible to find streams of the original Resident Evil 4. It's like not possible because they've joined them together. They're both called the exact same thing, but it's really hard to find people playing the original Resident Evil 4, which I think is scummy. Because they say, oh yeah, there's room for both of these games. It's like, okay, well, how are you supposed to find it? What if I want to watch someone play the original? I don't want to watch 2023. I want to watch 2005. And as far as Twitch goes, it should be an option. But, you know, just something, food for thought. What's up, T7G? But for them to try to replace the past with these bloated joke remakes, again, yet another sin in the bucket for modern gaming. You know, I think the biggest reason why we should really try to push for a new industry, and I think this is like at the top. Modern gamers, as bad as they can be, deserve to see what it's like. They should at least get a chance to witness what it is like, what it was like in 6th gen. They need to be able to see what it was like to when you buy a game, it was a complete game. Then you could own the game. You kept the game. It was your game. To do whatever you wanted with it. You could trade it back in. You could keep it. You could collect it. You could buy several copies. And that was it. It was yours. Like I said, a lot of these games now, they're not complete until months or years of patchwork. Not even counting DLC. Like this game, Fallen Jedi Survivor. What they're saying in this review, it's a good game, but the performance issues are making it really hard for a lot of people to enjoy. And that's because the game has so many systems running into each other just to make it look this good. And a bunch of shit on the side that gets people going like, ooh, look, his hair does this weird shit. It bounces off the wall when he bumps his head on something. He slips in mud. The mud does this when you walk through it. It's like you got all these systems constantly running into each other. No wonder the game's performance is bad. Like, you guys knew you guys would need like at least 6 more months of optimizing for this shit to all work day one. But every $70 AAA game that comes out seems to struggle day one, and most modern gamers have just accepted this as the norm. This is not normal. Like, when you buy something with your hard-earned money, you expect it to work when you get it. If you apply this logic to any other trade, a car. Imagine buying a car, and you get it home, and it has trouble starting up. It's sputtering when you're driving down the street. It's leaking oil over here. The tires pressure's low for some reason. You'd be looking like, yo, what the hell, dude? I done spent all this money on this car, and this shit runs like a damn piece of shit. This is a new 2020 blah, 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 blah. What's happening? No other industry is that acceptable. But it is in modern gaming. This shit right here, all this sputtering, not ambitious but compromised, normal. And nobody says anything. I mean, people say things, but not enough people say anything to discourage this from ever happening. To the point to where these developers will be like, all right, look, we can't afford that level of bad PR again, so we really need to take our time with this game. This game has got to work beyond, it has to be smooth as butter. The only thing that's allowed to be wrong with this game is that the DLC isn't out yet. That should be the only issue. People clamoring for more if it's a good game. Nah, we don't do that anymore. Nope. That used to be the case in 6th gen. Because I remember when map packs became a thing, people were really excited. And didn't even know how it was going to work. When Halo 2 came out with its first map pack, folks had to go to the store, buy the disc, and download it onto their Xbox. So they could get access to the extra maps. to play Forge and Slayer, King of the Hill, all that cool shit. And I don't even recall there being any issues with that game working on release. And if there were probably so few and far in between, it was rare. It was like an interesting point in time where the ability to add content to an existing game was so unique, you could actually get away with having a bad experience because no one's ever done it before. Nowadays, it's every AAA game that comes out, and it's pathetic. The gameplay gets neutered or watered down, but it looks so pretty, but it also runs like shit. Like, no, stop it. This is not gaming. It's nowhere close. And modern gamers, no clue. Completely clueless. They have no idea. And that's the sad thing, in my opinion. That shouldn't be the case. But, well, hopefully, within the next 10 years, if we can galvanize enough gaming goats, we could actually build something like this. And I ain't talking about no fucking Ouya, because those guys blew it. They had the world in their hands, and they sold out to corporate interests. That's what sucks. You either got to go along with it or just exclude yourself from the system game. Yeah, that's the smartest thing to do, because this is just the way it is now. I mean, there's nothing to fix. All the problems that people bitched about in the last 2-3 generations have become normalized, and most people now just don't get it. They either don't get it or they don't care. They're either too young, like their first game experience was a PlayStation fucking 4 or PS3 late into its life cycle, where they think downloading stuff is just normal. And then you got the old heads like, our age, who apparently have either become so jaded or just don't care enough to demand that gaming reach the same level of quality that it did in generations past. Which is like, I don't get it. You guys grew up during the golden era of gaming. How could you look at this now and be impressed at all? I mean, I get it, like as far as visually, but once you play the game, it's like, dude, games didn't used to suck this much at launch. That was rare. A game was just bad. At least it still worked, but that was the only problem that plagued 6th gen. The occasional bad game. Oh, this game is just bad. Drake and the 99 Dragons, horrible game. Worked, horrible game. And that was the extent of the issues that plagued the industry. Sometimes they just created a stinker. Or there's 3 types of games: fan-fucking-tastic games, mediocre games, bad games. No DLC issues, no corporations fucking up the process, no issues at launch. The shit just worked. It's going to be the hard. It's going to be the hard in the fight against the fact that every day kids are being born into this world because they have lost. They have a lot of normie parents who really don't care who don't care to babysit. Unfortunately, they'll just throw them in front of the first console or piece of plastic that keeps them occupied or for a while, not even thinking about how it could affect them in the future. Yeah, same thing with their wallets. You see all these stories, these kids racking up their parents' credit debt, buying a bunch of shit because the parents aren't paying attention. That's a whole nother problem. And I'm not saying another game industry in parallel with the modern one will fix that. It could. It could be. It could be an option. Because when we got in front of the games, we actually had to work for it and play it. Yeah, look how popular Fortnite is. Yeah, and again, a game like Fortnite, as popular as it is, does not carry the same weight of ownership. So many gamers have to log into that shit. Fortnite, for whatever reason, ceases to be for like server issues that last for more than a month. These kids will lose. They will go absolutely mad. They have no idea what to do with themselves, which, in my opinion, is sad. Because back in our day, where there was no internet, the game just worked. And the game was good enough that it still kept our attention. Like, Fortnite isn't even really a big game in terms of content. It's just a looter shooter. At the end of the day, base building, all that stuff you can put into a regular game and sell it as its own physical game, and just add the multiplayer aspect. But for some reason, it's got to be online, got to log into this server to access the game. Whew. But like I said, those are just a few things. And step one of this entire process, galvanize gaming goats. And this could be anybody. People who have an expectation for the gaming industry, for something new. People who are really invested in the niche category of games. People who really want there to be a product at the end of it that has lasting power beyond just a year. And the way you do that is with healthy content, very good day one optimization performance. It just works out the box. It's not all these complicated things going on. Not a live service, not tied to the internet. Just a solid game. And if you want multiplayer component to be a part of it, absolutely. You know, multiplayer isn't a bad thing. You know, these people look at multiplayer now and just assume it's got to be 100 playable characters and it's got to be a live service. Like, no, we're not looking for Anthem. Anthem could have easily been a not single player game, but a solo game with multiplayer added on as a element. Think of Far Cry 3. Far Cry 3 had two game modes, a single player campaign mode and the multiplayer co-op mode, where you could play through a few missions with your friends. To me, that's what true co-op is. Or you could do it Halo style. You can add multiplayer to the campaign, play with your friends. Up to 2 to 4 people. That stuff is good. That stuff is great. But unfortunately, everything has to be tied to some type of live service. It's like, no, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. You know, you could easily get these games to connect online through a lobby, where there's a few game modes where you could actually take advantage of more than 4 players. LAN parties existed before the days of internet, where all you needed was your own console and game. And you just plug all the consoles together, boom, everyone, you could do a 16v16 sweat match. You could do the same thing now, but over the internet. It could really simplify a lot of this shit. Everything doesn't have to be a 100-man battle royale. Especially because, like, you know, this stuff is waning, dying off anyway. The attention span for a lot of modern gamers is so short, they don't even appreciate the value of a game, because a lot of these games have very little value. I can't even blame them. Like Resident Evil 4, like their whole plan with that game is to remove content and sell it out in pieces over time in order to extend the life of it. When the original was so good with what it had back in 2005, game has been relevant and being played for 18 years. People are already done with this game, waiting for the next update. Like, no. You put it, you make it appealing from day one, so that people want to continue to play it, regardless of whether they beat it. Make it replayability good. Give them something to do. My attention span is short on new games simply because they just aren't good. Yeah. You know, they're either not good, they're decent, but they're nowhere near the same level of, like, the engagement is low. Because now you just expect DLC. If you got a game that was like Kingdom Hearts 2, but it had the Kingdom Hearts 2 aesthetic, like we were talking about earlier, but it had the content of Kingdom Hearts 1, 2, and 3 in one game, you'd be playing that shit forever. Especially if they gave you certain modes that allowed you to play different parts of the game all at once, like a boss rush mode, a survival mode, a time attack mode. Like, these modes are infinite. They could be applied to any game and give you hours more content. Different characters you can use. Like, hey, maybe you want to play with fucking Donald. I don't know. Play with Riku, just like in Chain of Memories. You know, like him at the end of that game. And I'm like, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I'm pretty much just going. I have a whole nother campaign with Riku. It doesn't have to be just as long as Sora's, but the fact that I get to play with a different character makes this worthwhile, of value. So many things you can do, man. But it's like I said, it's a joke. This current industry is a joke. That's why I want to really stress the idea that making a separate industry is not an impossible task. Everyone thinks we just have to put up with what we got now. No. Making a console, I don't think it'd be that difficult. It'll be difficult, but I don't think it'd be impossible. It'll only be difficult if if your goal of the console is to compete with the current consoles. No. We have to make our own system for which this console operates within, separate from the current industry. None of the DLC practices, none of the day one DLC shit, none of the content locked away on the disc, or none of the performance issues. None of that shit. None of the bloatware. The size of the games are within. They're reasonable enough to where a 250 gig hard drive would be plenty. I think the hard drive space in 7th gen, more than enough. Games, because back then you could, at least on the 360, for some reason you had to install the games on the PS3. That was weird as fuck. I think that was the starting point for a lot of this bullshit. But on the Xbox 360, you can have several games, but you can play them off the disc, leaving your hard drive for important room like DLC, music, videos, like stuff like that. Is to me, that's where it's at. 7th gen could have been a good contender for a fantastic generation of gaming. The only reason why I focus so much on 6th gen is because 7th gen got real foul halfway through their run. Real foul. It became super corporatized. And that's not gaming. That's not fun. Over here, turning on my 360 and I see ads for fucking tires. I'm like, holy shit, I'm not even driving, dude. And if I am driving, you think I want to turn on my Xbox to figure out what tires I want? Like, whoo, man. 7th gen was a problem, man. I hated that. When they updated the dashboard from the Blaze system to this fucking not Windows, but this, smartphone, tablet bullshit, all these, threw everything everywhere. The Blaze system was so flawless. It had everything I needed as a gamer. No distractions. Not no fucking ads and shit. That was terrible. That was horrible, man. Yeah. Oh man, that sucked. It just sucked. Let's leave it at that. Terrible. Horrible. No good. Very bad. Can't believe they did that shit. Ruined the Xbox 360 dashboard forever. But yeah, anyway. 6th gen, as I said, the 6th gen is the gen to beat. No other gen after it has come close. And at the rate that this industry is going, they aren't even trying. They don't care. Too many problems. Let's move on to the woke shit. Because you notice there's like, when it comes to indie games, because so much more is on the line, I guess you tend to not see so much of it at the same degree. At least, I could be wrong. There's plenty of indie games that I've tried, but I need to actually really play through. But I just don't think the woke message is anywhere near as prevalent in indie titles as they are in, AAA titles. Because the problem with AAA titles is so much money and shit is in it that they're incentivized to do it. Forspoken. I really think in another universe, I would have loved Forspoken. because that game on the surface checks off so many boxes for me. Female protagonist, open fantasy world, special abilities, parkour. That shit should have been amazing. But the biggest thing that fucked that up, the message. Again, terrible game. Completely, aspects of it completely ruined because of politics. When I look at Forspoken, I think of Panzer Dragoon Orta. That's one of my favorite games of all time. Same style, featured a female protagonist, stuck in a world where they have to fight for their right to survive or live. Beautiful game. Of course, the style was different. It wasn't like anything you run around on, but again, the same concept exists. Problem with Forspoken? Too many parts of that game was really focused into, like I said, the message. You gotta care about black people and women's suffragette. Men are trash. They're horrible people. You should never love them or trust them. They ruined everything despite the fact that they gave us everything. The whole entire universe here is ran by women, so everyone's life sucks, just like in Horizon. It's terrible. Could have been an interesting game. Like I say, if you look at that game in a vacuum, you don't know anything about it, you would probably be interested in it until you learn one thing. I mean, the reason why is because ESG and die because these government programs giving incentives to add all this woke shit. Yeah. That's why when it comes to the independent, in the indie lane, there's no room for that shit because, like, it's just room for your passion. When you try an NBA 2K game, bro, the last NBA 2K game I cared to play was on the Dreamcast. NBA 2K1. Because, and that's just me. I'm just not into sports games. If that's your thing, I'm not saying they shouldn't exist. Sure, definitely, there's a market for it. So why wouldn't you make them? You make a new console or whatever. I would be opposed to a sports game. I probably would like something not associated with the NBA directly, because again, that kind of limits creative freedom. And then there's a whole nightmare of licensing, like, oh, this player is no longer on the roster, or they're on this team, or what the fuck ever. Like, do something like Blood Bowl, I guess. Excuse me, getting a little tired. Yeah, something like that where it's like, yeah, it's football, but it's your own unique spin on it. Like NFL Blitz, but without the fucking, licensing bullshit. Because I think sports games can be fun, but when they're just straight up realistic emulators of the current sports model, no thanks. I want to be able to dunk from half court. I don't want to play with LeBron. I'm sure he's a great guy and all, but can I play with somebody who kind of looks like him that can fly or freaking teleport dribble or some shit, something cool? I don't know, but I leave that for somebody who cares about sports. Me, not so much. Not really big into sports. Don't really care about it. Not opposed to it, but not breaking my neck to stand up for it. But what time is it? All right, folks, we're rolling around 6 o'clock. I think that's a good amount of time for this stream for today. I might clip some of it, put it in a YouTube video, try to start some conversations, because I really think this is something that needs to happen. Definitely within the next 5 to 10 years. Because at the rate the current industry is going, there's no real room for improvement. Everything is just going to be harder to get or own, let alone access. And we're just going to be stuck in this never-ending cycle of shit released on day one. We need a true return to form with 6th Gen. Use 6th Gen as a blueprint because it did everything right. I honestly believe that. But like I said, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up. I need to get me some food in my belly. I am your Immortal Afro Josh. You are watching Immortal Afro Gaming, where we will make gaming niche again. Till next time, folks. Peace.